Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff's Cincinnati Open exit could mean a lot to Iga Świątek ahead of US Open. Coco Gauff's unexpected defeat at the ongoing Cincinnati Open not only marked an end to her campaign, but also helped her rival, Iga Świątek, with a massive push. Amid the Polish WTA star's ongoing run at the WTA 1000 event, she now has a golden opportunity to set things right in terms of her rankings, which took a massive hit during the clay court season this year. Here's a detailed look at the possibilities for Świątek after Gauff's defeat to Jasmine Paolini. Coco Gauff's unexpected fate in Cincinnati offers a pack of opportunities for Iga Świątek. Jasmine Paolini reached the semifinals of the Cincinnati Open after beating Coco Gauff in their quarterfinal match on Saturday. Ranked world number 9 with 3 WTA titles, the Italian player made a strong comeback to win 2-6, 6-4, 6-3 after losing the first set. This was her third victory over Gauff this year, maintaining her perfect record against the American in 2025. The match had a tense moment in the final set when Paolini twisted her ankle while chasing a forehand. After taking a short break with her trainer, she continued playing and managed to finish the match strongly. Besides letting Paolini move into the semifinals, Gauff also left a pack of opportunities open for Iga Świątek. According to the live WTA rankings table, Świątek has the chance to overtake the American and become the world number 2. However, there is a condition. For Świątek to reach that spot, she must first get past Elena Rybakina in her next match and then go on to win the Cincinnati Open. Currently sitting in the third position with 7,323 points, 551 points behind Gauff. The Pole will not only re-enter the top 2 of the WTA rankings, but will also be seated second at the upcoming US Open. Iga Świątek will play her 10th match against Elena Rybakina at the Cincinnati Open. The Pole booked her place in the semifinals of the WTA 1000 event after a 6-3. 6-4 win over 28th seed Anna Kalinskaya. Here, she will lock horns with Elena Rybakina for the 10th time in her career. Świątek has a 5-4 head-to-head lead against the Kazakh. Interestingly, the two have had 3 prior encounters in 2025, with the Pole coming out on top on each occasion. Whoever out of the two wins this time will take on either Jasmine Paolini or Veronika Kudermetova in the Cincinnati Open final. When Coco Gauff exited the Cincinnati Open earlier than expected in the summer of 2025, the collective gasp from fans and pundits alike wasn't just about one of the sport's brightest stars falling short. It was also about what this meant in the grander scheme of the tennis season, specifically, how the draw and momentum would shift heading into the final Grand Slam of the year, the US Open. And at the center of that shifting landscape is Iga Świątek. In recent years, Świątek has carved her name into the upper echelons of tennis royalty. Calm, calculated, and ruthlessly consistent, she's been a force on clay and a growing threat on hard courts. But Gauff, with her power, personality, and ever-improving game, has been one of the few players capable of matching Świątek stride for stride, especially on American soil, where crowds elevate her to another level. So, when Gauff's early Cincinnati exit came, it didn't just end her tournament. It potentially changed the complexion of Świątek's entire US Open campaign. A rivalry in the making. For the last 2 seasons, women's tennis has flirted with a genuine rivalry at the top, one that both echoes the golden ages of Serena versus Venus, or Hingis versus Davenport, and speaks to the future of the sport. Świątek versus Gauff was becoming that rivalry. The head-to-head, at least until late 2024, heavily favored Świątek. She dominated Gauff in their early meetings, exploiting the Americans' then underdeveloped backhand and sometimes shaky serve. But that narrative began to shift after Gauff's breakthrough US Open win in 2023. Her confidence skyrocketed, her shot selection sharpened, and her belief against the very best became unshakable. In 2024, Gauff beat Świątek twice, once in Dubai and again at the Canadian Open. Each match was a war of wills, with Gauff finally displaying the mental steel and tactical depth needed to unsettle the Polish star. Heading into the Cincinnati Open in 2025, many analysts had them on a collision course again. A semi-final between the two would have lit up the tournament. But Gauff's surprise third-round loss to a resurgent Daria Kasatkina flipped the script. Suddenly, Świątek's side of a draw was wide open. And with Gauff out of the picture, the mental burden Świątek often seems to carry when facing her fiercest rival seemed to lift. The pressure paradox. Świątek isn't someone who talks a lot about pressure, but you can see it. The weight of being world number one, or close to it, for multiple stretches, the comparisons to legends, the expectations every time she steps on court, all of it sits behind her eyes, even when her game looks seamless. And when she faces Gauff, that pressure is amplified. It's not just about rankings. It's about narratives, about proving she's still the one to beat. Gauff brings the crowd, the hype, and the chaos. Świątek brings the control. It's a clash of energies, and it takes a toll, even when she wins. Without Gauff in the Cincinnati mix, Świątek's run to the final was smoother, less emotionally taxing. Her semi-final dismantling of Elena Rybakina was a message. Her footwork was crisp, her backhand lethal, and her serve, often her most vulnerable weapon, looked better than ever. She went on to take the title, her first in Cincinnati, which had eluded her previously. But more than the trophy, she left with something arguably more valuable heading into New York: peace of mind, momentum, and the mental game. It's often said that Grand Slams are won as much in the mind as with the racket. Momentum, belief, rhythm, these are the intangible ingredients of a championship run. And Świątek has them in abundance right now. After a solid clay season and a respectable run at Wimbledon semifinals, the hard-court swing was always going to be her litmus test ahead of the U.S. Open. Cincinnati gave her the validation she needed. It reminded her, and everyone else, that she's still the most complete player on tour when she's locked in. With Gauff out early, Świątek was able to navigate the draw without the emotional spike of preparing for a marquee showdown. That matters. Tennis is not just about physical endurance, but emotional conservation. Grand Slams, especially the U.S. Open with its late-night matches and boisterous crowds, demand it. The New York equation. Gauff's absence in the late rounds of Cincinnati was a surprise, but she's still very much a U.S. Open threat. A champion in 2023 and a semi-finalist in 2024. She thrives in front of the home crowd. But her early exit raises questions. Was it just an off day? Is there a lingering injury? Or is there a deeper confidence issue against certain styles? Świątek will be watching. Not because she fears Gauff. She's beaten her more often than not. But because she knows Gauff is the one player who can completely alter the mood of Arthur Ashe Stadium. And sometimes, momentum has less to do with skill and more to do with crowd energy and timing. But now, Świątek has the mental edge. With Cincinnati in her pocket and a week of clean, confident tennis behind her, she'll arrive in New York with something to prove, but also with less to fear. Gauff's dip could mean a favorable draw, or at the very least, a delayed confrontation. And in a tournament as grueling as the U.S. Open, that buffer can make all the difference. A bigger picture for the tour. Gauff's loss and Świątek's gain also reflect a broader theme in women's tennis. The balance of power is more fluid than ever. Unlike the Serena era, where one player dominated year after year, this generation is defined by fluctuation. Sabalenka, Rybakina, Gauff, Świątek, and even rising stars like Linda Noskova and Mira Andreeva are all capable of beating each other on any given day. That makes every tournament unpredictable and thrilling, but it also means that momentum shifts like Gauff's early loss can have outsized consequences. Świątek, more than most, knows how to seize those moments. She's methodical in how she builds toward slams, rarely overplaying, always adjusting. And when rivals stumble, she doesn't hesitate. The road ahead. The 2025 U.S. Open is shaping up to be one of the most wide open in recent memory. But make no mistake, Świątek is now the favorite. Not just because she won Cincinnati, but because of how she won, decisively, with minimal drama, and against some of her toughest opponents. Gauff's exit may have been a momentary lapse or the sign of something more significant. Either way, it created a ripple. And Świątek, ever the silent strategist, rode that wave all the way to a confidence-boosting title. Will it carry her through 2 grueling weeks in New York? Only time will tell. But if you're looking for signs, Cincinnati gave us a big one. IGA Świątek is ready, and Gauff's stumble might have been the window she needed.